Waylon and Willie, and Willie, and Willie. Waylon and Willie is a duet album by Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson, released by RCA Records in 1978. In the US, it stayed at #1 album on the country album charts for 10 weeks and would spend a total of 126 weeks on the country charts. Background: by 1978, Jennings and Nelson had attained country music superstar status. Jennings had had three #1 country albums in a row, and his most recent, All Waylon, in 1977, included what turned out to be the biggest hit single of his career, Luckenbach, Texas Back to the Basics of Love. Nelson, who had taken a verse on the Jennings single, had enjoyed blockbuster success of his own with the release of his 1975 West Texas epic Red-Headed Stranger, and did again with Stardust in 1978. After so many one-off collaborations and tours, it was inevitable that they would record an album of duets, although, being contracted to different record labels, Waylon with RCA and Willie with Columbia made matters difficult. According to the RCA executive Jerry Bradley, Jennings initially attempted to overdub his vocals on a few old Nelson recordings Nelson had recorded for RCA Victor from 1965 to 1972, but struggled to do so. Instead, he approached Columbia Records in Nashville with the idea of recording an album of new duets. In a surprising show of cooperation, Columbia agreed. Jennings and Nelson had achieved great success previously, winning the Country Music Association Award for Duo of the Year for their song Good-Hearted Woman in 1976, and were the marquee attractions on the Wanted, The Outlaws compilation, country music's first million-selling album. Recording and composition: the album contains 3 songs sung individually by Jennings and Nelson, as well as 5 duets. Although it was presented as a new release, several of the tracks had been recorded for some time and had been redone using overdubbing. The Nelson song It's Not Supposed to Be That Way and If You Can Touch Her at All had appeared on Jennings' 1974 album This Time, which Nelson had co-produced, as had the song Pick Up the Tempo, which is on this LP as a duet. Nelson's guitar playing is noticeably absent on the recording. Jerry Bradley later recalled, "Waylon come to play those for me. He looked at me and said, 'You don't really like them.' I said, 'Well, we'll do well with them, but I don't think there's one as good as what we had with the Outlaws.' He said, 'What about this one?' And that's when he played Mamas. Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys, written by Ed and Patsy Bruce. It also reached 42 on the Billboard Hot 100 and won the 1979 Grammy Award for Best Country Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal. It propelled the album to the top of the Billboard Country Albums chart. The Waylon sung The Wurlitzer Prize, I Don't Want to Get Over You also reached #1, while Nelson's reading of Lee Clayton's If You Can Touch Her at All reached #5. The music journalist Stephen Thomas Erlewine of AllMusic observed, Jennings' legal problems, including a much-publicized cocaine arrest in 1977, were no doubt a distraction and perhaps the inspiration for I Can Get Off on You, a songwriting collaboration with Nelson, a notorious pothead. Jennings' cover version of Fleetwood Mac's Gold Dust Woman also addresses drugs, and was another example of Jennings' penchant for appropriating FM rock staples. He had previously covered Neil Young's Are You Ready for the Country and the Marshall Tucker Band's Can't You See. Near the conclusion of Chris Christopherson's Don't Cuss the Fiddle, Jennings and Nelson began singing Good-Hearted Woman, which has an identical musical arrangement. The original liner notes, complimenting Jennings and Nelson on their ability to surprise and deliver solid material, were written by Chet Flippo of Rolling Stone. Waylon and Willie was reissued by RCA Records in 2001. This was the first time that the full album was issued on CD in the U.S. Previous U.S. CD issues contained only 8 of the album's 11 songs. Reception: Rolling Stone ranked Waylon and Willie #30 on its 50 country albums every rock fan should own, saying, "These old stoner compadres teamed up with startling purpose for this consistently poignant, pleasingly loopy number one country smash, a last call of circular barroom logic. It evenly splits primo world Weary Willie the Quivering Waltz. While conceding that the album remains one of their biggest selling albums, AllMusic thought its perennial popularity has more to do with their iconic status, something this album deliberately played up than the quality of the music, which is overall merely good, since it was cut at a time they were making consistently enjoyable music. It's fun, but it could have been much. Track listing. Side 1. Mammas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys. Ed Bruce, Patsy Bruce 234. The year 2003 -25. Chris Christopherson 3-4. Pick Up the Tempo. Willie Nelson 232. If You Can Touch Her at All. Lee Clayton 3-4. Looking for a Feeling. Waylon Jennings 238. It's Not Supposed to Be That Way. Nelson 320. Side 2. I Can Get Off on You. Jennings, Nelson 224. Don't Cuss the Fiddle. Christopherson 3-4. Gold Dust Woman. Stevie Nicks 4-0. A Couple More Years. Dennis Locareer, Shel Silverstein 4-2. The Wurlitzer Prize. I Don't Want to Get Over You. Bobby Emmons, Chips Mommin 2-8. Chart performance. References. Equals.